What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the DeAgostini Millennium Falcon from Fanhome and Stage 79, which, God, I gotta stop saying this. Kind of a big deal. Every stage is kind of a big deal, like I said in the last episode. Or I don't even know at this point. Like, I've recorded so many of these. Everyone kind of winds up being a big deal, but this one kind of is. And the reason for that is with all of this, stage 79, and we're only doing one stage today, is that we're going to be putting all the remaining greebles that we can on the model. And we are also going to be going ahead and getting the headlight put in place and basically finishing up the starboard side mandible for the Falcon. And I do have to say, is it starboard? Is this top bottom? I'm not sure which mandible this one is. I believe this is the starboard side mandible, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to be finishing that up with the exception of putting a couple of pipes on, which, like I said, we're not going to be doing until after the painting process is taken care of. So let's go ahead and get on to stage 79, and it's going to be broken up in a couple different parts. So don't worry, it's not going to be just one continuous chapter, I guess, down below if you look in the description. But we're going to be kind of breaking this down into a couple of segments as there is a lot to do. So with that being said, let's get building. All right, so let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the magazine. All right, so talking about the H2 Executive Shuttle. This was Palpatine's shuttle in the Clone Wars. And this is one of those things where we're literally getting one page of lore and then several pages of instructions. We have a lot of parts to install. We have the beginnings of the next mandible, and we have the finishing of the mandible itself. Is this the... It is the starboard side. Yep. So it is the starboard side mandible that we're going to be finishing up today. So once again, like I said, this is the very end of that. Here are our instructions. A lot of greebles we need to put in place. Once again, like I said, I thought the perfect grade had a lot of greebles. This one also has a lot of greebles to be putting in place. Several pages of instructions. So there's going to be a lot of glue work that we're going to need to do. I have everything all ready to go. And see the front of our headlight assembly here with the electronics being put into place. Excellent. So let's also take a look at the mandible in its current condition. Before it is all finished up, we're going to have to be filling in all those little slots. Some of these are going to be filled with pipes, but we're not going to be worrying about those, like I said, until after the build is, or after the paint is complete. Here is our sprue from the previous stage. And let's go ahead and get our parts out. All right. So we're going to go ahead and carefully cut along the top line up here. And we have our LED, which with a long cord because it needs to run down the mandible. We have our sprues. We have 4 sprues that we're going to have to be working from today. So here we are. And we have our button screws. Let's go ahead and, I don't know why I keep putting the blade away. So let's go ahead and get our black button screws into our container. And then lots of stuff. There's lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. And we've been provided with a bunch of screws, which are going to be coming up here for the coming stages. I shouldn't have opened that, actually, now that I think about it. I was like, oh, because I don't know if I actually need them this stage. Here is our whole frame for the next stage. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. And then we have part of our support jig. Also set that aside. We'll be addressing that in the next episode. So let's go ahead and start by getting our mandible. Sorry. If you're part of HTM, you know what we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit here. I'm a bit of a goon. All right, let's go ahead and get our instructions opened. And let's start at, oh boy, there is going to be some serious work in cleanup. This is going to be a long runtime episode for me from the recording standpoint, as there's going to be a lot of parts that I'm going to need to be cleaning up. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm generally going to approach, as I always do, any cleanup of parts. So for this, we're going to need to lay out parts 1 and 2. And so this is going to be from the first sprue. And that's going to be this one and this one. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of part number 2. No, excuse me. 1 and 2 are right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of part number 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on going through. And I think what I'm going to do is for this first set of instructions, I'm going to take a look at my instructions. I'm going to see which parts I need to remove for this and set them in order along the top of my table here so that I have to spend less time kind of going through and say, I'm going to clean this up. I'll be right back. Less cuts, easier for me to do all of this. So one big cut, I'm going to go ahead and go through and clean up all of my parts and get them ready to go and placed in order. And but first, to show you what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab part number 1 here, and I'm going to use my single bladed nippers to remove them off of the sprue. Okay. And then what I like to do is I use a razor file, which is a glass file, and just quickly clean up my gates. Single bladed nippers do a great job of getting it close, but then the razor file gets it all taken care of. So I'm going to go ahead and get all my parts cleaned up and set in order, and I will be right back. All right, I have to say that was a lot of work, especially these little pieces. And man, I got to tell you, I got all sorts of sanding materials, and it was not easy to get that done. Some of them may be a little janky. We will find out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set the mandible off to the side a little bit. I got my glue and my glue tool. Let's go ahead and set this in front. There we go. I'm going to grab these. And parts number 1 and 2. So, like this. And like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in. Move that into frame a little bit better. There we go. And on the back of, oh God, on the back of each one of these, there's 2 little mounting lugs. Oh my God. We're going to glue. Oh man. Wow. We're going to glue 6 of these onto each side. So on each side of parts 1 and 2, there's going to be matching parts. Okay, so let's go ahead and do 1 or 2. Let's go ahead and do 2. Let's do 1 first. Why not? So set side 2. Oh boy. Gonna go ahead and get a little glue in each one of our mounting lugs. Try to keep this as simple as possible. This may not be as bad as I think it is. And with the wishbone piece facing up, let's grab my tweezers. Turn this towards me. No. What's going to be the best way of doing this? Just like that. Okay. Grab the next one. There we go. There we go. Do the same thing on the other side. And there we go. All right, that's part number 1 taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to part number 2. And I'll be right back. All right, so there is part number 2 taken care of. And it's fiddly in small. And these are probably some of the smallest details that I've put on this model so far. But I do got to say that looks really, really good. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. Okay, So now I think we can go ahead and get moving on a little bit. So what we're going to go ahead and do is grab part number 3, which is definitely a piece of suspension from a truck or a car, something like that. And holding it like this, we're going to grab part number 2. And then what we're going to do is put it on top right here. Then line differently. Yes. Lined like that. All right. So let's go ahead and get that glued into place. And it took me a second to kind of like look at the instructions and kind of get what they were wanting me to do. So to glue this, I'm just going to glue straight along the bottom here. And there was supposed to be a mounting lug right there, and I went ahead and took it off when I cut it off the sprue, I guess. And then I sanded it clean. So it is what it is. Not too worried about it. Okay, and with the sloped end facing this way, go and get this put in place. Let that set for just a second. And there we go. Excellent. So now I'm going to grab part number 4. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Just like so. All right, and there we go. Perfect. Get those set off to the side. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and zoom out just a little bit here. And we are going to start working on this portion of the mandible. And we're going to grab part number 4, and this one fits up right up against the very end here. There are 2 circular mounting lugs. So let's go ahead and test fit it. It's going to fit in just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get some glue on the flat surface. And on the mounting lugs. And there we are. Excellent. Now we're going to grab part number 6, and that's going to fit in these 2 circular mounting lugs with the box end closest to over here. So that will look like that right there. And there you are. Excellent. That's 5 and 6. We're going to grab part number 7. And that's going to go on these 2 dots right here with this part facing up towards the top. So it'll look something like that. Yeah. There we go. Excellent. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab the part from step number 7. And what we're going to do is go and slot it in place. What is it? On the... Is that... Did I get these right? Make sure I got these right. Ah. Oh, okay. So it goes in like that. And like that. With them facing towards each other, right? Yes. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got everything built correctly before I fix everything in. So that's what that's going to look like dry fit for the next couple of steps. So let's go ahead and get these locked in. There's mounting lugs here and here. So for that, I'm just going to go ahead and take my glue and go directly onto the mounting lugs. Get thick on there. go. And carefully get it mounted in place. There we go. Hold that down for just a moment. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a spot of glue with my tool right here. Just kind of hold 2 spots actually, here and here, just to kind of hold it up against here. There we go. Excellent. Let's go ahead and do the other side. It's on the flat here and on the mounting lug. On the mounting lug. Carefully get this lined up. There we go. And then using the tool, spot right here, spot right there. Kind of press it up against there. There we go. Actually, it shows on the picture that there's a bit of a gap, so I'm going to go ahead and pop that off real quick. All right. That was a lot of little pieces, but I got to say, that turned out really, really good. Now, we're going to do for the final little bit for this first part, for the inner details, is we're going to take part number 8, and that is going to sit in on top. All right, and after flipping it around, get it mounted into its mounting spot. There we are. Kind of a fiddly piece here. But there we go. Excellent. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next little bit, which is going to be a lot more of what we just did. All right. So as we are finally here on the other side, man, that was a lot of parts. I had to clean up and remove from the sprue 26 different greebles. Now, in order to keep this episode to a manageable time frame, what I'm going to go ahead and do, as we're going to be doing 24, is I'm going to go ahead and show you the result after every 5 greebles installed, because otherwise it would just be like, I'm going to put this one here, and then I'm going to put this one here, and then I'm going to put every 5. I'm going to show you what I got done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut in because some of these greebles here, like one and two. So one, I'll try to do this as much as I can. If I have to skip over a bunch, I will. I'll take a look at the group. So 1 and 2, it's 1 and then 2. And then 3 and 4 are these smallest greebles that we have put onto this model. Look at that. That is crazy. Okay. So these are going to go. So 3 is going to go right into this recess right here. Okay. I'll get some glue down on that spot. I'm going to grab part number 3. No, that's not where that goes. It goes right here, right up above it. Ah, I see. Well, oops. Hopefully I don't need to, hopefully we're putting something there. Okay. Wow, that is a super tiny greebly. Why? You could have just molded that in place, guys. Just saying. Now, number 4 is going to be slightly bigger, is going to go into that recess right here. So a little spot right there. Okay. And that is going to go in just like so. Nope, other way. Okay, there we go. Wow, super tiny. Crazy. Now, 5 and 6 are very tiny. There they are. And it does look like, oh, looks like it's going to go on either side. So, yes, I was correct in that assumption. So, we still have our glue active there. Let's go ahead and grab that. These are both the same piece. Look at that. That tiny little piece on this model. Nuts. Do the same thing on the other side. And there we go. Wow, those are super tiny. But the smallest ones are out of the way. Okay. Number 7 has a mounting lug facing that way. We're going to glue that. And only that. Maybe along the bottom too, we'll see. Yep, along the bottom's totally fine. And that's going to go into that first mounting slot right there. I'm going to slide that right in. Wow. There we go. Now we're going to grab number 8. Also has a very similar mounting lug at the very end there. So along the mounting lug and along the bottom here, it's going to go into the slot right behind it. Wow. Very cool. Okay. Now, number 9 is going to go into this piece, or that slot right there. Number 9 has its mounting lug right there. Looks like that. Put some glue onto the mounting lug and on the back. And just like so. Okay. As I've been kind of going through, I'm thinking about editing and how I'm going to approach this. I'm just going to go ahead and glue it and show it. And then kind of during the edit, you'll see me just kind of lift up the piece and we'll go along. So that was part number 9 that I just put in place. So go ahead and follow me along as I get through part number 24. Well, at some point during all of that, the recording stopped. The audio kept going, but the recording stopped. I'm not sure where. Like 10 minutes had gone by of me assembling things. And so hopefully I caught some of that audio on the way out. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but you know how it goes. Sometimes buttons get hit and you don't realize it, and you lose a bunch of recordings. So let's go ahead and take a look, see what's been done. All of the greebles have been put in. 1 and 2 were right here. And then I really kind of can't remember from there. You know, like I said, I don't know how much of that audio was caught or not. But here are all of the greebles put on. And I have to say that the level, and I do have to say that the level of detail here is pretty amazing. It was a lot of work getting all these parts put on and put in place. So, yeah, I apologize for any lost footage there. But it was just kind of me showing you the greebles as they're put in. But yeah, so that is all of them put in place. Let's go ahead and finish up stage 79, which is kind of crazy to say. And let's go ahead and get our headlight put in place. All right, so located within our bag here is going to be SF78, which is a small piece. So let's go ahead and just kind of get this open just a little bit so that the frame stays in there, because we're not going to be recording anything else for this build today. Put that off to the side, and there is that piece there. And what we're going to do is we're going to set it in place. Is it countersunk? Okay. It is indeed. So we're going to set it in just like this. So with the countersunk screw spots set in place. Now we're going to go ahead and grab two of our newer screws, which are going to be the flathead countersunk screws. Kind of nice to use a screw and a screwdriver here. And let's go ahead. I've been doing a lot of gluing this last couple stages. Go ahead and get these put in place. All right. Now we're going to grab 25, 26, and 27, which are the parts up here. So we're going to lay out our details so that they are like this. 26 and 27. And those simply are going to slot in on either side here. Just like so. Okay. I'll make sure that's going the right way. Yep. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the glue bottle. And get some glue down. On both sides. Excellent. Make sure the glue is catching. Yep, not yourself. And get the engine deck put in place. Those look like headers. Those are definitely headers. All right. There we go. Now, what we need to do is flip the part around, and we're going to go ahead and grab our LED. There aren't very many LEDs in this model. Now, I'm contemplating a mod, and I'm going to think about it over the next little bit because it's going to be detailed work, but I've been thinking about adding a few more LEDs to the engines, kind of give them a little bit more of a real flicker, so to say. So, what I'm going to do, stretch that out, and we're going to use two of our regular brass screws, not the long ones, but the regular brass screws. And so, go ahead and get that into a different container here. And just remember that they provide you with enough screws for the next couple of stages, so I'll be putting these away into my screw box in between episodes. So what we're going to do is we're going to, with the wire pointing down and these two lugs pointing this way, I'm going to go ahead and fix the LED into place. And then pull up so that it'll mount into its spot. Oh, that's a little bit of a funny solder. Interesting. Okay. They kind of soldered that funny, if I'm being real. Oh, it's hot glue. You guys used hot glue to make sure that it wasn't pulling out. Oh, well, okay. So, that makes sense. And then we're going to go ahead and secure this in place with two of our brass self-tapping screws. How interesting. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there's a spot of hot glue at the end there, and I'm having to kind of move the LED out of the way. And that's fine. All right, get our second screw in place. Oh. Excellent. Oh, buddy. I like electronics. Excellent. Now what we're going to do is we're going to feed this plug down and through until it comes out the other side. Okay, just like so. Don't knock over the glue. And then where the two mounting lugs are, those are going to fit into place right here. And then we're going to glue everything, this whole assembly, in place. So, where is my glue tool? There we go. And where I'm going to glue is not going to be on the lugs. It's going to be on the plastic, as I don't want the glue to dry and make my connection a little difficult. So I'm actually going to use just the glue itself here. So my tool needs to be fixed, and I don't want to deal with it right now. All right, that should be enough glue. Let's go ahead and get this press fit into place. And you're going to need to press and hold. So there's going to be more glue needed around the outside here. There we go. I'm going to hold this in place for a couple of minutes, and I will be right back. Excellent. Well, man, I do got to say that the detail on there is fantastic. Our mandible is done. Outside of a couple of the pipes that need to go on in the next stage, which we're not actually going to do, as I mentioned, the reminder that we're going to be putting these on after the paint process is done. But there it is. This was a lot of recording. This was about an hour and 30 minutes worth of recording, and I know that this is a long episode, and so I definitely appreciate you guys sticking around for this. But otherwise, I think that should be enough for today. This was a long recording session. I'm kind of glad it's all over with. So that's what I got for you guys today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today, and you spent a lot of time watching me build this model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. You guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world where we happen to be. And just remember that the Force will be with you always.